Is there anything to be cheerful about at the moment? There's an old joke. Farmer goes on holiday, but he don't trust anybody to look after the farm, so his friend convinces him to go on holiday, and his friend says, look, I'll look after the farm. Friend's taking him to the airport. He says, look, it's dead simple. He says, all you have to do is every day is just feed the dog. He said, feed the dog. He says, and then feed the horses. He says, but whatever you do not open the door to the stable or the horse or bolt, so just put the pony nuts over the thing and leave it at that. He says, and if you water the tomatoes, everything else will be fine. Anyway, farmer goes on holiday, comes back, his friend meets him at the airport. Farmer says, how's it gone then? He says, well, there's some good news and bad news. Farmer goes, oh, no. Oh, dear. I knew it. Bad news. What's the bad news? Farmer says, I'm really sorry. His friend says, I'm really sorry. He says, your dog's died. He says, oh, dog's died? That's terrible. He says, how did the dog die? He says, well, when the horse bolted, it trampled it. He said, well, my horse has bolted. He says, I thought I told you not to open the stable. He says, well, I had to because the barn was on fire. So the barn was on fire. How did that happen? He says, well, when the farmhouse went up, the flames spread. He says, oh, no. He says, so my house has burnt down. My dog's died. My horse has bolted. My barn's gone. What's the good news? He says, hey, there's some cracking tomatoes in greenhouse. Well, I think sometimes we're surrounded by a horrible situation and horrible things happening, and it's difficult to see, is there any good? Where's the good news? Well, lots of people in hospital at the moment. Well, yeah, actually, my niece has just been in hospital. She's given birth to a baby. Because despite the pandemic and all these things around, women are still giving birth to babies. Families are still thriving. That's good news. Good news this week, of course, is that the vaccine's on a rollout, and the vaccine's been developed in ultra quick time, which is fantastic news. And the boffins have achieved it in what would normally take years. They've done it in months. And they say they haven't skimmed, they've just cut out all the delays and the time wasting and the red tape is what they've cut out. And that's good news. That opens up real avenues for some fantastic medical research in other fields. And I think as we move on and we've learned these lessons, that other diseases, other suffering will be alleviated because of what's happened. And that's good news. Well, something else that's happened this past couple of weeks for me is my friend at church has died. She was elderly. Okay, that happens. But the good news is that since she's died, I realise how much I miss her and how much I love her when she was around, when she was just there and a good friend. The good news is that I've discovered brotherly love or sisterly love, and that means that I'm alive, and that's good news. The absence of live worship has made me realise just how much I love it, how much I love my church friends, and how much I love belonging. I'm missing you. How much I love going around churches and meeting people. I know I liked it, but I didn't realise how much I enjoyed it, how much it was me. And that's good news, just to appreciate the things that we didn't really appreciate. There's this, even things like in live worship, we've not been able to have hymns and songs. And I've missed that. But what I've found myself doing is examining the words of these lovely hymns in much more depth. And I've discovered things that are just so incredible. On the things that I've been singing for years, I've discovered a new meaning. I can't wait to sing them again, because I'll sing them with a greater joy. Now that's good news. There's this lovely song by Matt Redman, and it says, when the music fades and all is stripped away. And it says, you start to take the music away, and it then comes back to Jesus. The final words are, and it's all about you, Jesus. It's all about you. And the realization of that is good news. And finally, we're living in constant jeopardy of getting poorly, and there's financial worries and on many fronts, and we're constrained by lockdowns. And these woes mean that we can't rely on the things that we relied on before, those material things. We have to now rely on this thing called faith and hope. You listen to the news and you don't know what's true, you don't know what's false. But one thing that's sure is that hope and faith are true. And one day, as the Bible says, you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And without being all churchy or anything, that's got to be good news. Lots of good news around. You just have to look for it. Oh, hey, these tomatoes, they're lovely.